Hello there friend, good morning and welcome to my channel. My name is Katie and this is a place where I hope you can come anytime that you need to feel good in your body and your mind. Today we're doing a morning yoga practice and we'll do a deep stretch for the hips. This will be a really great way to increase flexibility in your hips, get rid of any stiffness and tightness that might be there since you woke up. And opening up the hips is also a great way to release stress. So this will be a nice low to the ground calming practice just to help you to ease into the day and to wake up slowly. You might have a cushion or a yoga block nearby just for a little bit of support if needed, but otherwise we're ready to begin. So let's start in child's pose today. You can come into whichever version you want, but having your knees out wide apart will help to open up the hips a little bit more. Your big toes are together, and then your hands can either reach towards the front of your mat, or they can come back to rest next to your feet. Forehead might make it to the mat, and if it doesn't, you can rest a yoga block, or you can take your hands in underneath and then rest your forehead onto your hands. So make sure you're nice and comfortable. You can have cushions or yoga blocks in underneath your hips as well if you need a little bit of support. Bring your awareness to your breath now and just notice how it flows in and out of your body. Maybe with time you can encourage it to go deep into your belly. Open up your chest and your throat. And each time you exhale, emptying belly, emptying chest, and emptying throat. You probably have little pockets of your body now that are starting to wake up and introduce themselves. So if you're feeling tightness, just try to keep your mind on that area. Keep sending your breath down into it. And I have a little quote to share with you today. It's from Lao Tzu, and it's, "A man is born gentle and weak. At his death, he is hard and stiff. Stiffness is thus a companion of death, flexibility a companion of life. An army that cannot yield will be defeated. A tree that cannot bend will crack in the wind." So I thought that was just a nice way to introduce this flexibility practice. If we can cultivate flexibility in the body, we can also have that flexibility in our mind. And as that quote has said, it will hopefully make for a more fulfilling life. So just a few more big breaths here, opening up your hips, cultivating that flexibility. When you're ready to come out of your child's pose, you can start to pull yourself up into tabletop pose, so onto hands and knees, wrists below the shoulders and knees directly below the hips. Your fingers are spread nice and wide apart here. And then when you're ready, we'll do a few rounds of cat and cow. So as you inhale, you're pointing your tailbone up, dropping your belly down, chest comes forward, eyes look up. Exhaling, tailbone points to the mat. Round your spine, tuck your chin to your chest, and drop your head down. Keep going now. Each inhale, slowly bringing you up to cow pose. And each exhale, rounding you down to cat. It might also feel nice just to pause at one point here and just let the pose open up your body. But really just do whatever you feel is best for you here, whatever you need this morning. You might also swing your hips from side to side, looking back over your shoulder on the same side. Then wherever you are, we'll come back to center into our tabletop pose and bring your left foot out to the left beside you, pressing into the outer edge of that left foot. We'll continue with cat and cow now. So this time as you inhale and point your tailbone up, you're feeling a lot of resistance within that left hip, but just try your best to keep going through with your pose. Exhale, round down. And again here, it might just be enough for you to pause. Just let the pose open up your hip. And now if you can, you might start to glide your hips back towards your right foot, just as far as is comfortable for you. Don't pressure your body into anything that it doesn't want to do. And we might just start to glide forward and back here with the breath. Inhale forward, exhale back. Keep pushing your finger pads into your mat here to support that bottom knee. Back into tabletop pose now. That left foot is going to swing all the way back behind us over to the right side of the mat, and then look back over your right shoulder to find that right foot. Take a big breath in, opening up all through the left side of your body. Exhale, left knee can come back to the mat. And this time the right foot will come out to the right beside us, pressing into the outer edge of your right foot. And we'll find our cat and cows again. When you're ready, you might start to slide back slowly, just going a tiny bit at a time. And if your body says, yeah, that's okay, go a little bit more, then you might go a bit more. But if it tells you to stop, definitely stop. Using your breath now to power the movements. In your own time, you can take your right foot all the way over to the left side of your mat, look back to find it, and take a long breath into the right side of your body. Exhaling, right knee comes back home. Now your hands can reach towards the front of your mat, fingers are still spread. We'll curl our toes onto the back of the mat and then lift the hips up and back for downward dog. We'll spend some time here just paddling the feet, getting that tightness out of the backs of your legs. You might also sway your hips from side to side. Your body will probably communicate with you what it would like at this point, so you might just wait and see what it's asking for. we'll come back to our down dog now and try to point your tailbone up towards the sky, releasing your head towards your mat. Knees can stay bent and back is nice and straight here. So a nice full body stretch. Take a big breath in. And when you're ready, lift your left foot up towards the sky, coming into a three-legged dog. You can stay here just pressing away from your hands, or you might take a bend into that left knee, bringing the foot over towards the right side of the mat, and stack your hips on top of each other to open up your left hip. Nice big breath in. And on your exhale, start to bring that left foot forward, eventually planting it in between your hands. Coming into a lunge here. So your back knee will determine how deep or shallow this lunge is. If it's too intense, just move your knee a little bit closer to you. If you want more, walk that back knee further away. Find a few deep breaths here in your lunge. You can just hold this pose, or again, you might explore with that rocking forward and back motion. Option to come into lizard pose here by walking your left foot to the outside of your left hand. It's on a 45-degree angle. Shoulders are directly above your wrists here. And if you need, you can have yoga blocks as platforms for your hands. Now let's just see what this pose uncovers. If your back knee is uncomfortable, you can fold your mat to make a bit more padding, or maybe have a cushion or blanket in underneath. Maybe some new pockets of tension opening up now, so send your breath into it. With each breath in, see if you can release something a little bit more. It doesn't have to be in your hips, it can be anywhere in your body. From here we'll come into Pigeon Pose. So you can walk your left foot all the way over towards the right side of your mat. Now I need to bring my foot quite back to get my knee to the mat, so you can do whatever works for you. We eventually end up with our left foot somewhere behind our right wrist, and then the knee is somewhere behind the left wrist. Pull your feet towards each other here so they lift up your hips, and try to maintain that height in your hips so they're square towards the front of your mat. We're just trying to avoid sitting over on this left hip. Both feet are active here. Front foot is flexed. Top of the back foot is pressed into your mat. Send your breath down now into your hips. You're just letting gravity and your breath do the work. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can always come down onto your forearms. While we're holding these poses, of course, it's so normal for your mind to drift away, maybe start thinking about your to-do list for the day. But these 30 minutes are just your time for you and your body and your breath. So if any thoughts are invading your mind, just gently close the door and come back. You can always think about them later. If you're on your forearms, you can slowly start to come back up. Now from here, we'll come and sit on our left hip and bring the right leg to the front of the mat. So we come to sit in a cross-legged position with our right foot in front. Now you can always sit up on a cushion or a yoga block here. Then we'll inhale to lengthen up through our spine. And as we exhale, we'll fold at the hips, keeping the spine as straight as you can. Walk your hands away from you. And then once you can't go any further, you might drop your head down. Mind is anchored into those sensations, probably within your right hip here. Take 3 more big breaths. To come out of the pose now, use your hands to push yourself away from your mat. You might lean back on your hands here, undo your legs, having the soles of your feet on your mat. And we'll just release the hips with some windshield wipers. So you're exhaling to drop the knees to one side. Inhale to pick them up. Exhale to drop them to the other side. Now we'll repeat that all on the right side. So when you're ready, swing your feet back behind you and make your way back into downward facing dog. Whenever you're ready, we'll meet there. So this time, right foot lifts up towards the sky. Push away from your hands, open up your full body. Maybe bend your right knee now, bringing your foot over towards the left. Trying to stack your right hip over your left hip. Long breath in. Exhaling, right foot comes forward in between your hands and set yourself up for whatever version of lunge works for you. Remember, you can just hold the lunge here, or you can glide back and forward. If you want to come into lizard pose now, walk that right foot over to the right edge of your mat, 45-degree angle, wrists below shoulders. back knee determining how deep we go here. And again, here we're listening to the body. It may or may not send little invites to go deeper. If you do receive any invitations, you might sink your hips a little lower to the mat. With each breath out, seeing if there's something you can release from your body. Coming into Pigeon Pose now. Right foot is coming over towards the left side of the mat. Set yourself up. Activate both feet, bottom or back foot pressed into the back of your mat. Front foot is flexed. Feet are pulling towards each other to keep the hips lifted. Option to come onto your forearms. When you're ready to come out of Pigeon Pose, you can start to make your way over onto your right hip. And now your left leg comes to the front. We're sitting cross-legged now, this time with your left foot in front. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhale to fold, walk the hands away, maybe drop the head down. And it's okay to even stay just sitting cross-legged on the mat. That is not easy, and if that's where you are this morning, that's absolutely fine. Even those subtle poses will open up the hips and help you on your flexibility journey. Last breath for this pose, so take the biggest breath you've taken so far. When you're ready, push yourself away from the floor, coming back up, feet out in front, leaning back on our hands, and doing a few windshield wipers. Again, here it can feel nice just to pause and let the pressure of your mat get rid of some of that tightness from your hips. Then from here, we're going to come down to lie on our backs. So hips in the center of your mat. Slowly, slowly roll yourself down, coming into your most comfortable way to rest. So allow your hands and your feet to take up as much space as they possibly can. And we've come to the most important part of the yoga practice. And this is where all of the magic happens, where your body can soak up the practice that we've done. So really honor yourself for doing this, for taking the time, and for doing good work for your body and your mind. As everything becomes heavy, allow yourself to fall into a deep relaxation. Slowly start to bring yourself back, maybe wiggling through your fingers and toes, circling your ankles and wrists. As slowly and mindfully as you can, you might start to bring yourself back up onto your mat. You can turn yourself onto one side and then use your hands to push you back up into your seat. Once you're there, just sitting cross-legged on your mat again. We'll inhale to reach the hands up, exhale to rotate towards your right, and just take a brief spinal twist here, maybe looking back over your back shoulder. And then inhale, come back up, exhale, rotating left, maybe looking back over the left shoulder. Back to center now, palms can come together at your chest. You might bow your head towards your heart and close your eyes. Take a few big cleansing breaths here, breathing in through your nose if you can, and maybe opening the mouth to exhale. A few more like that. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and we'll officially end our practice here. So thank you so much for practicing with me. I really appreciate you being here. If you liked this practice, I'd love to hear from you. You can leave a thumbs up or maybe a comment below. As I mentioned, I have lots of practices that will help you with flexibility and lots of morning yoga practices as well. So I'll leave a link to those in the description below. I hope to see you again for your next yoga practice, but until then, have a great day and goodbye.